Welcome back to the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host. On a Friday, heading into a betting weekend, the markets are open, baby. So we look at sports betting here on the Overrated Experience as if we were talking about the New York Stock Exchange, 5 o'clock on a Friday. We know you can bet anytime you want, but it means something a little different heading into a Friday and a weekend. So let's do it. Ding, ding, ding. Markets are open. We're going to talk some sports. We're going to talk some sports stories, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, some futures, some individual game betting, some FA Cup England version. Well, it's the only version for the FA Cup outside of England. And look forward to Champions League final. We also have some other stuff we're going to talk about, some potential things I'm thinking about doing heading into the NFL season. But of course, you can follow the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast at X Overrated EXPER2. That's Overrated EXPER2, which you can find in the subject of this episode. Click on it, join us, mention you're with us. And speaking of X, if you are already following the Overrated Experience at Overrated EXPER2, you'll see my tweets or reply to some tweets earlier today. Are they tweets again? Yeah, whatever. Related to a call. And I got to kick this off. I got to get this off my chest. Now, I missed when it originally happened last night in the world of baseball. But if you haven't seen it yet, last night during the Baltimore White Sox game, ninth inning, controversial call, maybe one of the weirdest, one of the worst calls made by an umpire that I've seen in a long time. No, it's not Angel Hernandez, but it's very, very bad. So, for those who don't know, the infield fly rule in baseball, if there is less than 2 out, there is a forced play at third, meaning that there's runners on first and second or first, second, and third. If there's a pop-up in the infield, it's playable for the infield in fair territory, it's called an infield fly, meaning the batter is automatically out and the runners at their own risk can run. So why this rule exists is to ensure that the infield can not, pretend they're going to make the catch, let the ball drop, and pull off an easy double play. So in the scenario last night, in the Baltimore White Sox game, bottom of the ninth inning, hold on, Friday beer, was 8-6 Orioles, 1 out, and the White Sox runners on first and second, and we have a pop-up to short. I'm going to let this play out for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes on the broadcast, and then we'll get to talking about it. All right? Here we go.
Benintendi pops it up on the infield. And Henderson will make the catch. They called the infield fly rule. No, they called interference.
They're calling him out. I believe they're calling the game over.
Wait a minute. They're calling game over. They're saying Andrew Vaughn interfered with Henderson at short. So they're calling Vaughn out. Let's take a look at this, Steve.
Well, Andrew did not do anything intentionally to deal at all with Henderson because he never saw him. Look, he doesn't know where Henderson is. Henderson's in back of him.
And he's just going back to the bag.
And he chooses to go around him. You got to go back to the bag.
No, they can't end the game like this.
Well, it's an infield fly rule, and
no way.
This would be an unbelievable ending.
Adrian Johnson, as the crew chief, you got to take over here. That cannot be how this game ends. They called infield fly rule, and then they called Andrew Vaughn out at second for obstructing Henderson at short.
But that's a terrible call. Andrew had no idea where he was, and Henderson went around him. He didn't interfere. He made the catch. It was an automatic out anyway. This is a horrible ending to this game.
We've seen some bad calls this season. That is one of the worst calls I have ever seen. That is terrible. Pedro is still talking to the crew chief, Adrian Johnson, because this just doesn't even make sense. Vaughn is walking back to the bag with his back to the fielder. And they end the game like this? Come on. What is this nonsense?
Take a look at Andrew and take a look at what Henderson did. He had plenty of time to get to the ball. He didn't interfere with his ability to catch it. Andrew doesn't see him. Henderson just goes around, and then they call game over. Wow.
That is...
All right. So, again, I encourage you to head to the Overrated Experience X page, Overrated EXPER2. Check out the highlight. Comment, please. I think if you're a sports fan, you got to have some thought on this. I thought this was a no-brainer to look at maybe the worst call ever. My tweet was originally touting that if there is any validity or power of actually protesting a game, which you do see happen in baseball, and to be honest, the only time that I'm aware, again, I have not dug in to do research before I'm making this comment, so please, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's just the way it is, that the only protest that I'm aware of that has been successful goes back to the whole George Brett Pine Tar hit home run. You know, that's my understanding, is the one I'm aware of, that if this doesn't validate some action being taken on a protest, and I don't even know if the White Sox protested, but they should. Unbelievable. I can't believe what I'm watching. So I tweeted out there about, this is, what's a protest for if this is not it? To get something action. And somebody tweets back about it's the rule. There's no protest. There's nothing to be concerned here. So, valid point when it comes to what is the rule, right? When you look at it. So, the rule is MLB Rule 6.01A states a base runner can be ruled out for hindering a fielder's ability to make a play, even if it's accidental. Determining what classifies as interference is up to the umpire. There doesn't have to actually even be contact. If the runner hinders the fielder the attempt to field a batted ball, intent is not required, and it's interference. Now, it doesn't even matter that it was a infield fly and the batter was automatically out. So when you go back and watch this, the pop-up to the shortstop, Henderson, Vaughn the runner, he's looking up at the ball. He's backpedaling to tag up at second. Yes, Henderson has to slightly maneuver to go around Vaughn, gets past him, makes the catch. Comfortably makes the catch. Here's the catch. No pun intended. It's up to the umpire's discretion. The third base umpire here made the chose to make this call, thinking that there was interference unintentionally. Maybe he thought it was intentional. I have no idea, but it doesn't matter. Hindering Henderson to make the ball. So, his interpretation of the rule is not about the rule he enforced. Like, how do you explain this? It's not like a tag was made, but the call was that the runner wasn't tagged. Or that the tag wasn't made, but the runner was called out. There was a mistake there. We're talking about the empowerment of the umpire to use their discretion to determine when they enforce this rule. And my argument, and I got to believe 95% out here, other than the 5% on Twitter, trolls, that just want to pick a fight and get on the other side because that's their Friday night entertainment, which is pathetic. Anyway, it's very pathetic, but hey, freedom of speech, to each his own. All right? So, the interpretation of the umpire is that there was interference. My stance is that the interpretation of this umpire is overstretching their power, overstretching the ability to make that interpretation. If you look at the play, at no point should an umpire end a game, much less us play in the second inning, much less calling it at all based on what we've seen, marking their reputation on making that call. There is no way that should have been called. It's an embarrassment to Major League Baseball. It adds another layer of disgust for fans that have no clue on what's going on with the officiating, the umpiring in Major League Baseball, and that's usually the strike zone. It's followed up by the early, temper ejections that umpires throw managers and players out with. Now add in over enforcement of a dumb interpretation by a guy who wants camera time or had a dinner reservation. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's like, have you ever watched the movie Paul Blart? When he's an over-exuberant mall cop who's basically has a speed trap in a mall for people on their motorized scooters. This moron umpire is the Paul Blart of the umpiring world. Now, just as before this podcast, Major League Baseball contacted the Chicago White Sox on Friday, and I'm quoting here on the Score app, to notify the club that Thursday's game-ending interference call shouldn't have been made. Sources tell ESPN. The controversial call was made by third base umpire Junior Valentine against the White Sox slugger Andrew Vaughn, with shortstop Gunnar Henderson attempting to catch an infield fly. So, I know that we just had a statement there. Hey, White Sox, how's it going today? Happy Friday. Guess what? You lost. Our umpire fucked up. I just want to let you know that. The White Sox season is an absolute shitter right now. They need every piece of success that they can possibly handle. They're the last team in Major League Baseball that can get fucked over by such a call, because this season has spiraled out of control in a wrong way. Okay? So I don't know what that apology or acknowledgement of the play means in the context of the outcome of the game, or if there's a protest, or should we expect some action? But I don't know if it's a waste of time that some sort of acknowledgement has been taking place, but it sure seems that way. We'll find out, but you need to take a look at it. If you're a sports fan, acknowledge it on the overrated tweeter, because it's outrageous. All right. Now, like I said, ding, ding, ding. The bell is open. Trading season is open. And what I mean by that, sports weekend betting is on. Is on. All right? And we got more value than maybe volume. It's not a busy full NHL slate. It's not a busy NBA slate. It is a slate full of games that are important. And we're going to kick it off in the NHL, the National Hockey League. And tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Florida Panthers, who lead the series over the New York Rangers, Game 2 takes place tonight at Madison Square Garden. Now, if you watched Game 1, the Panthers took the Rangers to school. They overwhelmed the New York Rangers. You know what? The Rangers did not know what hit them in Game 1. Florida was hitting everything in sight. No time to react. No time to react at all. The skillful New York Rangers had a half a second at best to make a play, make a decision, as the Florida Panthers kept coming, and coming. You could tell that the Florida Panthers made the Rangers feel very uncomfortable on home ice. And then Adam Bobrovsky, by the second period, the Rangers thought, oh, fuck, this is going to be a problem. Bob is going to be a major problem. And they're going to get in their head that they need to have the perfect shot. That one time, or get him moving in his crease. It doesn't work that way. And I think they started picking this up late in the third period. The Rangers' power play has been pretty damn good in these playoffs. Did not look good against the Panthers, but there was a spark of an adjustment for the Rangers that I seen in the third period where their power play was moving faster. Quick pass shot. Quick pass shot. And that's the only way that you're going to be successful against the Florida Panthers. God forbid you fall behind. They're gonna beat you down. But I think the Rangers present good value here. Everybody is, stuck on recency bias. And you look at the Rangers right now, minus 105 tonight, game 2. Panthers minus 114, favorite on home ice of the Rangers. I don't know about the over-under because that game was under. But if you like the over 5.5 and the Rangers bouncing back and you like the Rangers, there's probably going to be some goals in this game, plus 104. And if you look at the series right now, so let's look at the series. Panthers, Rangers. The Rangers are plus 245. I think that's an overcorrection here made on the Panthers. They look good, no question. Is there a shock that they're going to potentially wipe the Rangers out? Maybe not. It's not a shock. It's not a surprise. It's not something that could not happen in my mind. But when you're looking at the ability of this Rangers team and the talent they have and their ability to adjust, Shesterkin's got to come back with a better game than he did. I mean, he let up a weak one for the first goal against the Panthers. Second goal was off a skate. Nothing he could do there. And the third one was an empty netter. So, I mean, we look at Shesterkin's game 1. It looked like it was well behind Bobrovsky, but in reality, he gave up one bad goal. But maybe that's what the difference is. One bad goal. And that's why Bob stands out. And the Panthers know that. Man, he's a money goalie. Bobrovsky, for the last couple of years, when playoff time hits, he is on fire. Look how many opportunities the Rangers had in the second period. And the way he's bouncing up and down, getting that blocker out, getting that stick out, he's going twisting around, a la Dominik Hasek back in the day. If you don't know who Dominik Hasek is, the Dominator, go on YouTube and watch it. You're not a real hockey fan if you don't know what I'm talking about. Come on. But Florida Panthers, minus 310. But the real value is plus 245 the rest of the series, the New York Rangers. All right. Stars Oilers, game 1 last night, double overtime. McJesus, Connor McDavid, game winner. Did Connor McDavid look the same as he normally does? I don't think so. Something might be up there. But he got the game winner where it counted, where your superstar needs to come through. Choking Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner that don't do that. Dallas is down. Oilers are up. Oilers are minus 200 to win the series. Dallas plus 164. Now, I go back to the series against Colorado, the Dallas Stars. At home, dropped the first 2. And they looked ugly doing it. The Dallas Stars looked ugly in those first 2 games, heading into Colorado for game 3. And then, bam, light switch goes off. And they're a completely different team. So don't get fooled by this first game against the Oilers. Again, I see value on the Dallas Stars at a plus money. They got the better goaltender, Ottinger. They got more depth. We don't know what Stuart Skinner's going to do. He's the least of the 4 goaltenders remaining in the playoffs. So don't pretend that hole is patched up, okay? So value again is, in my opinion, the Dallas Stars. And if you look at Saturday night's game at 8:10 p.m. Eastern time, I think there's going to be a few more goals scored there. I'll take the over 5.5. Got it? Good. So that's the NHL story. What else stories going in the NHL? Don Waddell, Carolina Hurricanes general manager, ex general manager, resigns. Looks like the Carolina Hurricanes were not looking to renew his contract. They gave him permission to interview with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He announces today he resigned. I don't know if that means that he's going to step in that Columbus Blue Jackets role, but something weird there. They just signed Rob Brindamore, head coach, to a 5-year deal, lucrative 5-year deal. So something wasn't meshing there. Change there in Carolina. New Jersey Devils sign and hire former Leaf head coach Sheldon Keefe. Interesting. I think he's a good fit there. And you hear me on record, if you look back at these podcasts, it was time for him to go with the Leafs. There's nothing much more he could do with this team. It was time for a new voice in the room, but not to say that I wouldn't hire him somewhere else. And I think the New Jersey Devils coaching job is a great spot to land with the makeup of that team. That's a growing team. They need to establish themselves as a regular season consistent team. They dropped off last year. They need to be consistently in the playoffs. And if you want that regular season preparedness over 82 games, Sheldon Keefe's your guy. The jury's still out if he can take a team in the playoffs and get over that hump to get past that first or second round on a yearly basis with a team that's up and coming. And that Devils team with Jack Hughes and crew is an up and coming team. So we'll see what happens there. The Leafs bringing Craig Berube. It's amazing in the NHL how teams are cycling coaches. Craig Berube, not good enough anymore for the St. Louis Blues after winning a Stanley Cup. But hey, he's good enough for Toronto because he's a mean son of a bitch that everybody thinks, oh, they need a mean son of a bitch in the room to stand up to their core four. Well, get rid of the core four. Shake it up. Maybe don't get rid of the whole core four, but make a difference in that core four. That's the only way it's going to change. Yes, you needed a new coach. Maybe Craig Berube's the guy. But unless you do something with the core four, it does not matter. Got it? Good. We're going to move on now to the NBA, which last time we talked, I thought Denver was the play. They got back in the series against Minnesota, but wow. Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, and crew come through, get to Game 7, down early, and then just take over in the second half. Anthony Edwards had two or four points heading into the second half, and then started bringing in his game. Towns, you had a great game, as a supporting role. Edwards is the guy. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but he's the man. All right. Tonight we got Dallas, Game 2, visiting Minnesota, taking Game 1. I do think if I look at the series, or if you look at the series here, I got to believe that you're looking at a team in the Dallas Mavericks that are probably going to make the run here. Let's not kid ourselves, okay? I think you're looking at a team that is on the way up with Luka and Kyrie. I think it's their time to make a run. Is that a run to the final? I don't know. But I'm trying to look for the FanDuel here with the series. I'm not seeing any lines here for the series, which I'm very surprised. That's weird. But Dallas's time. I think Dallas being +6 here is a little rich. I would tend to take that. Oh, sorry. Minnesota -6. I tend to think that Dallas, I don't think it's settled for just one game here in Minnesota. I think they want the whole thing. And I think what you need to do is look at, I think the Minnesota series is down right now. So, no, Western Conference. Sorry, my apologies. Let me backtrack. Okay. So you look at the series, which I just found here. Bad navigation by me. Dallas is a -146. Minnesota +124. I don't know. I think Dallas is going to win the series. I don't see the value in the -146. It's too close. I'll stay away from that. But tonight's game, give me Dallas +6. I think, maybe that series against Denver was their peak for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Maybe that was the peak of their season. This team's on the rise. There's still that team on the rise where Dallas, is making a run, but the expectation for Luka and Kyrie was to show their value and make a run like they're doing now, and I think it's their time, at least to get to the Western Conference as the Western Conference representative into the final. Now, if you look on the other side of the bracket, the Boston Celtics lead this series 2-0. I think it's over. I think it's a waste of time for us to maybe even discuss this further. I mean, what is Indiana going to do? They had game 1 in the bag in Boston, up by 3. Boston has to inbound. The play was to foul, send the Celtics to the line. Don't give them the opportunity to tie it up with a 3, which did happen. And now you're looking up at being down, going home 2-0. They fucked up. They fucked up. Huge. Their only shot was to take that game in game 1, then it went all downhill. That changed everything. So I don't know what they were doing, who did the analytics on that one, who drew on the whiteboard, what was going on there. But I do like, when you head into game 3, the 222.5 seems kind of low to me. I like some scoring there. Maybe this is the game that Indiana pulls out. Last 2 series, Boston's lost that second game at home, but that didn't happen this time. Does Boston drop a game? They're the best team. There's no question. They're the best team left in the playoffs. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. 222.5 seems kind of low to me. I'll take the over. Series, it's over. It's over. Done. Done. Now, as you know, EPL action, done. Bundesliga, done. Okay? So what do we got left? We got the FA Cup. Now, the FA Cup is the oldest football, European soccer competition in the world. 1871, 1872 season, the FA Cup kicked off. And it's a great concept, right? It's an idea of every team in England, and I'm sure there's details I'm missing here, has an opportunity to make a run. So when you get deeper into the tournament, you sometimes have a 3rd division, 4th division team that's the kind of the Cinderella team that may face a Manchester City or United or a Chelsea because they've advanced in the tournament. And the better teams get slotted in later into the later rounds, as they should, because they're the Premier League. Well, this year's final involves 2 teams you know for sure, Manchester City and Manchester United. Manchester City, EPL champions, League Cup champions, lost to Real Madrid, no more Champions League left. They were the defending Champions League champions. And Manchester United, another disappointing season, that they're going to miss the Champions League next year. This team's in chaos. Let's not beat around the bush. There's 2 teams here from Manchester. One of them, Manchester United, back when I was a younger man, that this team was was English football, or at least, I'm sure, let's say English football without insulting the Liverpool and Arsenals. But I'm talking about 90s, like the Sir Alex Ferguson years. They were the show, right? And now we have a situation where Ten Hag, head coach of Manchester United, looks like he's going to be fired after tomorrow's matchup. Manchester United for the last, 6-7 years, since Sir Alex Ferguson has left on top, has been a carousel of coaches, carousel of free agents. You remember Ronaldo a couple years ago, that didn't work out. But let's be honest, whatever they're doing is not working out. They are spiraling out of control when it comes to spending money in the right places, both off the pitch and on the pitch. They're terrible. I don't know what their game plan is, but not even close to the successful years of Sir Alex Ferguson. They have not developed talent to the level they used to. They have not signed the right talent that's come through like they used to in the past. And then you look on the other side when you have Manchester City, and you look at the team and teams they've built over the years that have now been the true class of English football. And then when Pep got there, Pep Guardiola, from that time, Barcelona via Bayern Munich to Manchester City, the program he's built has kept evolving, winning EPL title, going to the Champions League, final, losing to Chelsea, losing in the semifinals, each step along the way. Then finally last year, getting there, beating, winning the final. Just amazing. They've put a great program together. They're signing Haaland. They signed Haaland a couple years back. Right choice to win. They're just a class organization. I'm trying to think, are they on par or just slightly a little lower on the totem pole as Real Madrid? But they're really, Real Madrid and Manchester City, to me, at this time, are the two top organizations in European football. I don't think there's a doubt about that. Bayern Munich's taken a step back. Barcelona's taken a way step back with their financial problems. Obviously, Chelsea is in the shitter with Manchester United. Arsenal is attempting to get up there, just can't do it. They pissed away the EPL. Liverpool is losing Jurgen Klopp. They had a run, but it seems they have taken a step back as well. What other teams out there? Like Italy is presenting, Inter Milan and Juventus, Napoli. They're not quite there. They're powerhouses, but not quite there. But it's definitely Manchester City and Real Madrid as the class. So going into the FA Cup final tomorrow, what do we have? Well, I'll tell you what we have. We have a one-sided matchup. One team's going to get their ass kicked and one team's going to do the kicking. And I can't see a scenario where Manchester City does not lift the cup. And if you wanted to bet them to lift the cup, that's minus 800. I think that I'm exaggerating, of course. I wouldn't put $800 to win $100, but I think you feel pretty confident that you're going to get the $800. That $100 off your 800. Let's say that. And if you look at the rest of the board, you look at the over/under 235 for over 2.5. I don't know what's the bet in this game. You know what I mean? Where's the value to be found? Is the value to be found in a same game parlay? I don't know. Shots on target? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe corners? I don't know. But really, I would chalk this game up to a fun betting game, not a serious betting game, because there's only going to be one story. One team kicking and one team receiving. And the City side is going to be the class, and they're going to kick the ass of Manchester United. Sucks as I'm a United fan, but they're going nowhere. This is a mismatch, and it's not going to be close. So coming up the rest of the weekend and some other future notes, we have the Champions League final coming up on June 1st, and that is going to be Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund out of Germany. Now, again, we're talking about one-sided. I cannot see a scenario where Borussia Dortmund is going to have a chance to lift the cup over Real Madrid. Real Madrid is a machine. They are a machine. They will not walk away without gold here or the silverware, whatever color it is, whatever. They're just not walking away without the win or lifting the cup. I could see a blowout here. Even though Real Madrid kind of seems like they play around with their food a little bit before they eat, before they crush. And Borussia Dortmund's had a great run in the Champions League. Don't get me wrong. But they're not Real Madrid. And they struggled in Germany this year. They were well behind Leverkusen. Okay? Not in contention. So I just don't see a scenario where Leverkusen has any shot here. But we'll have a little more insight next podcast leading into June 1st. And maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know, based on what the lead up is. But so Real Madrid potentially wins the Champions League, and then comes back next year and has Mbappe, on this squad. Like, how do you lose if you're them? But wild stuff. And then what else is going on? Oh, big news here on if you're just a fan of survival pools and big money contests. One of the big money contests here, and I have not done this, all right, but I've always meant to do it. Now, me and our boy Johnny Charts are tinkering with the idea of maybe doing this, and that is the Circa for millions. It's a Circa contest, the Survivor contest, which is up to $16 million. And again, details go to circa.com or circasports.com. But if you look at contest is now open for registration, guaranteed $6 million. This is amazing, man. Just absolutely amazing. So when you look at the contest, there's a couple contests, but you have to fly to Vegas and register in Nevada. And I haven't looked at the full details yet. Might have to make a flight out there. But you have a Survivor Pro contest where it's $1,000 to enter, 10 entries per person, and up to 20 picks in 2024. So one of the key things to remember, though, is even though you're picking each week and you can only pick one team and that's it. What I mean by that is if you pick the Dallas Cowboys one week, they're off the board. You can't pick them again. But you also have to account that you have to make a pick during the Thanksgiving game timeline and Christmas. So you got to make sure that you select or don't select some teams that are made available for those picks. Each NFL team can only be selected once per each entry during the contest. So a lot of good stuff there. And there's another contest that you can also pick a number of teams each week. You get a point for a win. Push gives you a half point or something like that. And you have a big pool of money to win. But the important thing is you got to get out to Nevada before the season starts. And then if you live in Nevada, no problem. You can make a pick on the Saturday before the game. And or if you are outside of Nevada, there is some way you can get a Nevada proxy. Somebody can do it for you legally so that you can stay in the contest. I'm going to figure all that out, see if it's up for me, but something I've always been interested to try to do, and that's the Circa Sports Survivor Contest. So look at it, circasports.com. Great intro. If you ever watch Follow the Money, VSiN, a lot of it circles through Circa. Great stuff. If you're a sports gambler, you enjoy it. Love it. And I think we're done here. So that was the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. Remember, head to Twitter /X, Overrated EXPER2. The pleasure's all been yours, of course. Overrated Experience is over and out. Bye-bye.